Hello dear friends. Some Fridays are terrible because of the amount of news that accumulates, and I have had to postpone some of them in order not to make the piece too long. Opinion piece. And an irreversible process. There is no stopping this. The creation of a new financial system. New payment mechanisms have already been created. Countries seek economic independence. NATO is watching all pro-Russian influencers. Coalition will only give a date if it is a military deception. Argentina investigates sex exploitation cult. Debt extortion centers dismantled in Mexico. Slavery persists in many places. UN says. Europe shot itself in the foot by imposing sanctions. Germany rushes to call of a gas crisis. Gazprom's new gamble sent gas prices through the roof. Chile develops smart bracelet to measure emotions. China spends billions to build quarantine camps. Petro says saving the Amazon rainforest is a matter of national security. Fires in Brazil have destroyed an area the size of Belgium this year. Powerful corporations prepare for economically devastating event. Let's start. The creation of a new global financial system would be an irreversible process in the context of a multipolar world. In fact, bilateral mechanisms have already been successfully set up with various countries to make payments in national and alternative currencies to Western ones. In this way, the basis for a multipolar global financial system is being laid. The existing financial system has proven to be of little use in the context of the multipolar world, having become a tool to achieve political objectives of a group of countries. Many countries have reflected on the need to make their external economic activity independent in the interest of their own sovereignty. The task would be very feasible if the political will is there. There is a set of nations called BRICS, which stands for Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa. These nations are coming together to bring back a gold standard and newly realize the patches of oil. Hence, they are trying to get Saudi Arabia and Iran involved. As of this year, Saudi Arabia is moving away from the petrodollar and is looking to back its oil in the gold-backed Chinese yuan. Russia is among the top 3 users of yuan in international payments, with its share of the global currency market increasing 6.3 times in just 3 months. Forbes magazine revealed. Russia will abandon the use of the dollar and the euro in international trade, economic and investment relations amid growing tension with Western countries. Russian Deputy Foreign Minister Alexander Pakin announced in an interview with TASS on Friday. The top diplomat said the financial system that currently dominates the business world was created by Washington and is rather, in quotes, a tool to achieve the political goals of a group of countries, while it is hardly suitable for a multipolar world order. Reset news. Putin and Xi Jinping plan to attend the G20 summit in person. IMF predicts higher oil revenues for the Middle East. Indonesia rejects US move to cap Russian oil prices. Soybeans boost productivity by improving bioengineered photosynthesis. Producing lithium is as bad for the environment as fossil fuels, say experts. Powerful corporations are preparing for an event of imminent economic devastation, according to Mike Adams. No guessing required how the great collapse will happen, according to Gregory Manarino. Fierce competition for gas expected between the US and the EU in winter. Much of US natural gas production is going to Europe to take advantage of the high prices generated by the continent's energy crisis. According to Big Swear, gold and silver market manipulation is legal under US law, but not for banks. Traders stare at losses as gold coins boost Zimbabwe dollar. Black market traders have been stunned by moves by the authorities, including new gold coins to support a struggling local currency, dry up excess liquidity, and erode arbitrage opportunities. Slavery persists in many places, United Nations says. Contemporary forms of slavery are practiced in places around the world, a UN researcher said, such as forced labor for China's Uyghur minority, forced labor for low castes in South Asia, and domestic servitude in Persian Gulf countries, Brazil and Colombia. Conspiracies. The United Nations declares war on conspiracy theories. At this point in the war, we have learned to trust our own heart and our divine intuition, no matter what anyone else says. What was a conspiracy theory 5 years ago is now not a conspiracy, but an actual fact. The high-level white hats are assembling a truth network system that will connect to a reconstructed world truth system. Operations are underway to acquire the largest news network in the European Union, controlled by BlackRock Vanguard. In China, the Dragon Elders family are selling their BlackRock shares. William Cooper was a conspiracy theorist, radio broadcaster, and author best known for his 1991 book Behold the Pale Horse, in which he warned of multiple worldwide conspiracies, some involving extraterrestrial life. He was shot dead on 5th November 2001. Spain. Fuel prices take a breather in the most expensive August long weekend in history. France maintains its opposition to the gas pipeline in the Pyrenees proposed by Germany and Spain. The project for a gas pipeline from Spain to France increases tension in the midst of the energy crisis. The Medgaz pipeline currently connects the Algerian coast with Almeria, and the African country provides 40% of the gas consumed in Spain. But Madrid's enthusiasm has been dampened by French President Emmanuel Macron, who believes that it would take too long to resume the project to be an effective alternative to the current energy situation. Strong winds fuel huge forest fire in Valencia. Authorities have deployed 35 aircraft to extinguish the blaze, which is in its 5th day. The fire in Bellis, Castellón, is not letting up, but they are managing to control its advance. 388 fires in Spain have burnt more than 286,000 hectares until today. The big banks pay 27.4 million to their board members up to June, 18% less. 2.5 years in prison for 13 migrants for jumping the Melilla fence. The PSOE's Code of Ethics prevents its public officials from supporting Grignan's pattern. Americas. Argentina signed 6 credit agreements for $740 million with the Development Bank of Latin America. Argentina signs a guarantee agreement with Kuwait to build an aqueduct. Argentina police investigate sex trafficking and exploitation cult in Buenos Aires. The Argentine Federal Police have carried out dozens of raids against the leaders of a cult accused of trafficking and sexual exploitation. They used a droga center as a front to sexually exploit their clients and strip them of their property. So far, 24 people have been arrested in Argentina. The organization had offices in Argentina and the US, including branches in at least 3 cities: Las Vegas, Chicago, and New York. Let's start at home. Argentina's response to the US for asking for political agreements. A former military student attacks a van, injuring 6 cadets and killing the driver in Argentina. Exports with Russia have been normalized according to the Paraguayan Meat Chamber. The US ambassador clarifies to the Paraguayan foreign minister that his country's sanctions are not political in quotes. Fines of $35 to $201 for not voting in Chile's constitutional plebiscite. Chilean scientists develop a smart bracelet that helps measure emotions. Mexico meets with US and German companies for the rescue of 10 miners. AMLO gets angry with the US over its travel alerts. In quotes, do we send our warnings for shootings? A TikToker makes AMLO sign Me Porto Bonito by Bad Bunny. I behave nice. China increasingly investing in Mexico to avoid US tariffs. Debt extortion centers in Mexico coordinated from China are dismantled. The US wants to focus on Latin America to counter China. The European Union is reconquering Latin America to curb the influence of China and Russia. Mexico's unemployment rate falls to 3.2% in the second quarter of 2022. La Vaca, the alleged leader of the Colima independent cartel, is arrested in Mexico. Former prosecutor Jesus Murillo Caram, architect of the historical truth in the Ayotzinapa case, is arrested in Mexico. He is the former head of the now defunct Attorney General's office during the 6-year term of office of former Mexican President Enrique Peña Nieto. The Truth Commission, set up to shed light on the disappearance of 43 students in southern Mexico, said in a report on Thursday that what happened 8 years ago was a crime of the state, in quotes, and that it seeks responsibility in the army for failing to act. Tension between locals and tourist industry in Tulum. A building frenzy in Tulum, a fashionable Mexican Caribbean resort, has many businessmen planning to build hotels and condominiums in a poor neighborhood built on squatted land. Another blackout causes another protest in Cuba. Cuba begins funeral services for the 16 firefighters who perished in the Matanzas fire. ELN releases Colombian soldiers as a gesture before peace talks in Cuba. Petro welcomes ELN guerrillas' decision to free Colombian hostages. Petro says saving the Amazon rainforest is a matter of national security. The Colombian government denounces the murder of a social leader by the Clan del Golfo. Colombian prosecutor's office accuses the alleged coordinator of the murder of Paraguayan prosecutor Pechi. Venezuelan businessmen seek greater commercial integration with Colombia. The official price of the dollar in Venezuela exceeds 6 bolivars. Russian and Chinese military operations in Venezuela. The Venezuelan Socialist Party holds elections to renew its grassroots structure. Venezuelan Public Prosecutor's Office maintains active arrest warrants with Interpol Red Alert against false directors of monómeros in Colombia. The Public Prosecutor's Office ratified on 12 August the arrest warrants for at least 23 people involved in this case. Venezuela and Syria evaluate ways of cooperation and deepening of brotherhood. The Peruvian armed forces say their operation was a hard blow against the Shining Path, Sendero Luminoso. Peruvian justice frees the brother of ex-president Humala convicted of murder. Peasant communities in Bolivia will irrigate with water from the Misicuni hydroelectric plant. Choneros and Tiguerones, the criminal groups causing terror in Ecuador. Ambassadors of Spain and 3 other countries present credentials in Honduras. Honduras Bitcoin belly expands cryptocurrencies. Nicaragua. Ortega critic Bishop Rolando Álvarez is placed under house arrest. The United Nations is concerned about the transfer of a bishop and other priests to Managua. The Archbishop of Panama denounces aberrant acts, in quotes, against the Catholic Church in Nicaragua. Fires in Brazil have destroyed an area the size of Belgium this year. 45% of Brazilians see the country becoming a dictatorship. Protests outside the residence of Haiti's Prime Minister over high prices and insecurity. The United Nations allocates $5 million to help Haitians in the face of the wave of violence. Europe. Gazprom's new gamble sends gas prices through the roof. Gas prices hit a new record high of 257.4 euros per megawatt hour on Friday, the highest ever. Nord Stream will stop pumping gas to Germany for 3 days for technical reasons, in quotes. The Vice President of the Bundestag urges to reopen the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. Artisans call on Scholz not to immolate Germany for Ukraine and to cancel anti-Russian sanctions. German official calls cost of living protesters enemies of the state. Europe shot itself in the foot by imposing sanctions and now realizes their impact in the energy area, says international analyst at Venezuela's Institute for Advanced National Defense Studies, Vladimir Adrianza. Germany rushes to coal because of the gas crisis. The former Gazprom branch in Germany needs 5 billion euros to replace Russian gas. Despite the policy of disengagement, Germany is becoming more dependent on China. World War II ships discovered down the Danube. Moscow doesn't rule out the possibility of banning the issuing of visas to European tourists. The Italian intelligence service monitors pro-Russian influencers according to Manlio Dinucci, but this is a coordinated practice in all NATO countries. Pro-Ukrainian activists try to prevent the screening of Oliver Stone's documentary Ukraine in Flames in Germany. Fire on the Sicilian island of Pantelleria sends Armani and others fleeing. New strikes bring British trains to a standstill again. Travel chaos as a massive fire forces London Bridge station to a close. The British Army trains hundreds of Ukrainian volunteers. A third boat with migrants arrives on a southern Greek island. Greece investigates the killing of 3 brown bears, a protected species. Severe storms leave several dead in Europe. In Austria, on Thursday, 2 girls and 3 adults were killed during a thunderstorm that left at least 13 people injured. The German authorities have put the south of the country on high alert. In France, a violent storm has left 6 people dead on the island of Corsica, and in Italy, the regions of Tuscany and Veneto have declared a state of emergency. Tuscany. Russia is once again intimidating Finland by flying 2 fighter jets through its airspace. Finland's Prime Minister undergoes drug test after videos of her patting are leaked. Another controversial video of Finland's Prime Minister dancing closely with a man in a nightclub is leaked. Montenegro's government falls after a no-confidence motion by the socialists. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.